Hey guys, I am so sorry that this did not get out. I don't know what happened. It was on my list of things to do and I just completely forgot. And I finally don't have students in my room right now, so I can finally record this. It's going to be super short. You should have your notes out. This is just an introduction to religion, and we just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page, which is why it's so short, because we're a little bit ahead of some of the other classes in case you transfer at the quarter. So make sure you have your notes out so that you can be able to take down this information. So the two major terms that you need to know is the difference between religion and cosmogony. So religion is going to be the system of formal or informal worship, faith, and ritual. I like to call this, if you want to write, so this is at the very, very top. If you want to write, this is the everyday life. So, for example, your holidays revolve around your religion. The way you dress revolves around your religion. The things you eat revolve around your religion. In contrast, an idea of the origin of the universe doesn't necessarily control your everyday life. What I mean by that is, let's pretend that you, for example, have a belief system that believes that animals did certain actions and that created different things. So, for example, there's a common one that says that there are animals that trampled the ground, and this is what created the valleys. Those are not necessarily something that revolves around your entire belief. Now, it could be, but for most of the time, so for example, if you believe in the Big Bang Theory, your world doesn't revolve around that on an everyday basis. Now, there are several similarities between all religions. You don't have to write these down, but this is just to give you a little bit of an idea. So religions tend to incorporate a concept of outside power or force that plays a role in human existence. That could be a god, it could be a deity, it could be several gods, it could be spirits, whatever it could possibly be. It's also an attempt to explain why things are the way that they are. So, for example, why is it that you are born and you don't remember anything prior to your birth? Why is it that sometimes you get deja vu and you feel like you've seen or experienced something in the past? This is also the idea that a soul exists apart from the physical self. So, for example, most religions are going to believe that your soul is separated, and traditionally when you die, your soul goes somewhere else in an afterlife. You also have several sacred spaces. It could be anything from something small, such as something in your home, to something large, such as a temple or a holy site. There's typically some sort of an vehicle from which understanding of each other is made possible, whether it be through text, through sermons, through prayer. It incorporates some sort of a standard set of beliefs and practices, although not everybody in that belief may have the same beliefs. And there's traditionally several writings, quotations, and sacred texts left behind by founders or prophets that people read to understand or practice their religion. So let's talk about the two different major types of religion. The first are called ethnic religions. So ethnic religions are religions that originate from an ethnic group or tribe with little to no spread or influence from outside groups. This would be your definition for your notes. So, for example, this is most common in places that have little outside influence, such as locations in Africa, South America, Central America. Very, very small religions. Or it could also be something like, for example, several native indigenous religions that strive really hard to not be influenced from outside. Or, for example, you could have things like the Mennonite religion or the Amish religion, although many would say that that is not an ethnic religion. There's and you don't need the rest of this, by the way, for your definition, but there's very little diffusion. They also have no missionaries in order to convert people of other faiths. They traditionally only are worried about the people in their own faith. There are also religions like Christianity and Islam that tend to gain followers from ethnic religions. That's why you'll see most missionary work is in smaller areas in terms of the most conversion rates versus large cities. Now, universal religion. So here's the definition for universal religion. If you just want to put large worldwide religions with many followers, so your definition again for universal religion is large worldwide religions with many followers. So the origin of religions, the universal religions have a precise place of origin and is typically based on the events of the life of a man. Most religions in today's world are centered around male figures versus female figures, although there are many religions that do have female figures as well. So, for example, you have a location such as Jerusalem or a location such as Mecca. Those are all specific locations, dropped my phone, in which men are going to do something in that location to create their religion, and therefore it has a place of origin. And a lot of people will go back to there as a pilgrimage. Ethnic religions, in contrast, have no known origin, and it's traditionally not tied to a single historical individual. So we see this, for example, in animism, which goes into animals, and you also have things like, for example, native religions, where nobody can tell for sure where it started. So how do you decide what sites are holy? Ethnic religions, typically, if you just want to put down, revolve around the environment. Specific rocks, mountains, rivers, formations are all going to be kind of the center origin and considered holy. In contrast, universal religions have holiness at several cities and places associated with the founder. So, for example, Mecca, the Western Wall in Jerusalem, things like that. So let's classify some world religions. So we already talked about the ethnic faith, which you can go ahead and pause and rewrite that if you don't have it already. There's also monotheistic faiths, which are beliefs in a single God and also tend to forbid the worship of other gods. There's also polytheistic faiths in which multiple gods attach to differing aspects of life. This means many gods, so mono means single, poly means many. And then orthodox faiths are traditionally purity in religious practices with strong traditions. And these are available in many universal religions. But again, for example, you'll have Greek Orthodox or different things like that. So here's the last thing for your notes is the 3 different sections of religion. So you have a branch, which is a large fundamental division of religion, and all the universal religions have these. So if you take Christianity, you could have a branch off of Mormonism. You could have a branch off of Catholicism. You could have a branch off of being a Baptist or an Anabaptist. All those are branches. You then have denominations, which is the next set, which is looking into local congregations. So, for example, if you're LDS, you have a stake. That would be an example of a denomination. Or you might have a collection of churches that share a pastor or possibly just communicate with each other about common themes. And then you have a sect, which is a small group that has broken away from an established domination. For example, the FLDS church. For the LDS church, you also have, like, for example, the Amish from the Mennonite church and things like that. So sorry this is getting there so late, but hope you guys have a great weekend.